Mr. X and I, we had an open relationship. And all open relationships are a world apart. I mean, every partnership, every relationship's different. Every relationship's different. So there's always all sorts of nuances. So my open relationship maybe had nothing to do with yours or ones that you've had. And this one had nothing to do with ones that I had before. But in this one, we had to negotiate a couple of things, such as when we were with other people. He was of the school of thought that he wanted details. Okay. If you know me a little now, but I mean, at this point, we've known each, me and you know me a little more than you did at the start. I am a rather private person, although you might not appreciate that in this context, but I actually am a really private person. I don't share much details about anything. If you ask me something, I'll give you the to the point description of the event. But he liked details. He liked details about, encounters. And I thought, good God, why? Now, I mean, I don't care to share them, but I don't share that usually. Well, neither here nor there. So we had to negotiate because he was very eager to share details, and I was actually eager to receive his details. It didn't cause any jealousy to flare up with me or insecurities. I was like, "What? Amazing!" So for me, it was fun to receive details. I mean, I love to receive details about other people. However, for me to share details, it's a little more work. So we had to negotiate on that. So he said, I like to hear how it went. I like to know the details, it creates, stimulus for me and so forth. So I gave in to the details. However, my compromise, negotiating is fun. The compromise was that I would only share details after the fact because sometimes, there's a working up to, the messages, you're going to meet up with a certain person on this date and you met them at such and such phone and, finally they are available and they're in town or whatever, or you're traveling and you get to see them, whatever the situation might be. I said, I would only do this. I would only share details after the fact because I don't like sharing the anticipation before and then nothing happens because flights were canceled, couldn't meet up, work went long or whatever. So that was our negotiating, our middle ground. I would share details. And clearly, I mean, you know me by now a little. I share details fine, but I'm also not going to I mean, we don't have to have detail, too detailed. We can be detailed without being too detailed. So I would share my details, but only after the fact. So negotiating is an inevitable part of all relationships. We have to negotiate. We need to, whether it's where are we going to dinner or how are we going to raise our kids, what school should they go to, what type of house do you want to have? Do you want to retire in the country or in the beach? How about both? Where do you want to go for our holidays? How about our anniversary? We're always negotiating, and abdicating responsibility is not negotiating. Negotiating is when both parties, we have an opinion, we have demands, we have needs, and we find a middle ground of where we can both cohabitate, where we both can live happily. So let's walk through some basics of negotiating to freshen our mind and to just best practices around negotiating. There are courses you can do on negotiating. I mean, full-fledged courses. I mean, there are probably even certifications that you can do on negotiating. There's everything from Chris Voss, FBI negotiator resources, as well as many other things. And if for work, you need negotiating, obviously you'll want to dig further. But a great part of being a good negotiator simply comes down to listening. Listening really, really, really well, and being able to identify the unmet need of the other person or the fear of the other person. When we do that really well, then it's easier for us to construct not only common ground, but to construct solutions that can help us move forward. So one, Listen, obviously, listen with no judgment, not conclusions. Just we want to hear and understand where the other person is coming from. Right? Listening. 2, ask. Let's ask a lot. Let's ask a lot of questions because someone can just tell you a problem, can tell you their feelings about something, can tell you what their needs. But if the more questions you ask, the easier you'll be able to reach their unmet need that they maybe have not identified for themselves. And 3, what solutions exist? What solutions exist? Obviously, the solutions that the person that's bringing up the problem is stating exist. There's the solutions that you see, but what other solutions exist? We want to create win-win solutions. And this sounds like, business gibberish of just win-win solutions. It sounds like fluff language that's not actually built on reality. But win-win solutions actually exist when you focus on creativity and you focus on abundance. So let me explain this. If I use all of my creative muscles and to use creativity, there's a tool that I'm going to leave you in the notes, which is the 6 hats tool. And the 6 hats is a great resource. It's also used in HR and in change management, that you work through 6 color hats, and all the different hats represent a position: optimism, negative optimism. Like, one is the blue hat, which is everything that's possible, all the solutions that are possible. The black hat is everything that could go wrong. The white hat is all the opportunities. The green hat is, all the hats represent different emotional states, but also different outcomes that are possible. So as you put on the hats, you can play, expand, the sphere of creativity and solutions that are available. So that's what I mean by creativity. We have to expand our consciousness a bit. In abundance, one of the things we get wrong, especially in our culture and in Western culture, is that not even Western culture, that we get wrong in general across the globe, is that we think there's only this much. There's only this much, and this much I have to fight with everyone for it. Versus, actually, there's infinite bounty for all of us. There's infinite bounty in all aspects. There's infinite bounty, which is a really difficult shift to make nowadays in our minds, because the whole discourse about everything is about scarcity, except for, the 0.00001% of the population that's actually making more than the rest of us, and they're always making more. But aside from that example, generally the discourse around everything is the scarcity of resources, the earth, the water, animals, clean air, scarcity. And I'm not saying that there isn't a management issue that we are struggling with in this 3D realm. That's an entirely different issue. But there's bounty, there's plentifulness. And when you apply that mentality of plentifulness to your problem, to your situation, you can find new solutions. Find new solutions that are actually possibly better than what both of you had in mind. So listen, ask what solutions exist, and lastly, remember to reconnect. Negotiation, if you've reached a point in which it's tense, you want to reconnect. Remember, reconnecting is like, oh, okay, yeah, this is my place. It's that wiggling back into your place of comfort of, okay, I'm in this with you, and we're in this because we like being together. Whatever helps you reach that, whether it's a joke, it's a song, it's doing an activity together. Let's go for a run. Let's go to a yoga class, let's do CrossFit, whatever. Let's watch one of our favorite series. Reconnect with your partner. Let's see you next week.